Hello everybody, we are back again, another live stream. And I have this little joke from 1st of April from some years ago. Attention it was called, and we created it as a fun part. And I think it still could be handy in your studio. If, for example, you need some coffee, you can hit this. Or if you are in a recording session, there's all kind of people, musicians, and they are a little bit noisy or totally not concentrated, or the singer is not concentrated. You can hit it, say, okay, pay attention, guys. And of course, I made a joke today on the change a little bit the text on the you say that again on the homepage, yeah. About that this, if you watched on Netflix or maybe on television this series called Breaking Bad, then you exactly know what is this. So that made this little joke. And it's also as rec extension, and I updated today the homepage, but unlucky, it will not work on the current Mac computers because they changed so much of the recent OS, so that, yeah, that displays how much changed in this short time, because it's not that long ago that we did this joke. It's in the extras, and here you can see attention. I uploaded the image of the product, and here I have this little joke where I say, and no, this device is not related to the TV series Breaking Bad. So here it's I think it's quite an essential tool in your studio to keep everybody concentrated. And then you hear this, or you say, okay, I want a coffee or tea, or bring me a something else, whatever. So, but of course, we are back in a regular live stream. And okay, let me throw back the homepage. So here you can download it. So here, attention, and we have download here. You have the PC version, which still works, but the Mac, I think it's up to 10.13 maybe that it would work, but we need to update. And of course, for this, we don't have time yet because we are so busy with updating all the other things because of the changes to the Mac computers, which keeps the Mac program very busy here at the Papen team. So yeah, today, let's throw that one back. We see, let's play some sounds. We have Blue 3, which is now currently, it's NKS finally. So people wonder why it took it so long. Well, the problem is, again, the Mac computers. We have the VST3, and if you are running on a Mac with an M1 processor, it did not load or NKS products, even if there were VST3. So that has to do with a ID stuff thing. So took some while to fix this or to have a workaround so that it works. But finally we are here. We have Blue 3 with NKS. So you have here complete control. And you see I'm in the Pads 4 bank where you only a few presets. And the cool thing with is that you always will have an audition. Of course, that makes the whole installer so big because you have all these small audio examples. Down here you can shut it down, but you have already a preview. So you don't need to load the sound essentially. So let's play some noise. This is one of the ambient. So what we did is then, of course, a parameter layer. And you see how the keyboard open here, which you also can see. But let me see if I can have that a little bit out of the way. So like this. We still can see my dials. Here are the dials. And then we go back to complete control. And you see the dials are also up here displayed. You also can shut that down, so make the screen smaller. Then you have a smaller. So essentially what Complete Control does is that you have, for instance, all the NKS compatible instruments. That can be sample library, the native instruments, plugins. And then you have on the left side, you can search through all the presets, but that not only in Blues 3, but also all the other NKS instruments. That makes that the only disadvantage is if you save a song and you go to a studio which doesn't have Complete Control, you cannot play it because even if they have the plugins from, let's say, all plugins from Blue 3, because they don't have them Complete Control, that's a one little disadvantage. But overall, the advantage is that you have controls, which you can see up here. So the X and Y are addressed, but also the main, like, so what I did is the first page, I took the most important parameters, which are essentially the amp envelope with attack, decay, sustain, and release, also the volume control, and the XY. So you have something to do on each preset. So you see on these dials, if you look in the upper left corner, you can see that all the dials, they are black, so a bit hard to see, but they are addressed here in page 1. So I can change very fast the attack, and you also can see in the plugin itself that it changes. Here's the attack. So making a very slow attack. Even more. So that's added in the first page in the NKS. The amp envelope here on the right hand side is added, and the XY. So and then I can scroll here through all the banks. They are a copy of course, our own system, but if you use NKS, you don't use our bank system. So you use on the left side to scroll through presets. So in this case, I could say go to sequence sounds, and then it does the audition. So you hear the audition, and if I double click, so here we have phase 2 string sequence. When I double click, then it loads it into the plugin. Well, and what we did is that in many pages, so you can go to the second page where you can control the play mode, which is now sequencer. You can go to oscillator 1, to oscillator 2, oscillator 3 doing stuff, oscillator 6, up to oscillator 6. Then you get the 2 filters. You see in the upper section here, filter 1, filter 2. These are all the things which I address. And then you got FX 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Here you see the sequencer tune, and that you can change the tuning. Now I have one changed. So this one is only for the sequencer, so the preset should then be using the sequencer, otherwise this page doesn't do anything. So it can change the tune, but also the wave you can select, and that's interesting. And you see the value is, for instance, set. So I change now the waveform per step. So that's why we added the sequencer page. It is only controlling oscillator 1, because if you would add all the pages for the waves. For 6 oscillators, there will be too many pages, and then it will be not that handy. So in terms of preset creation, I used more oscillator 1 for changing the waveform than the other oscillator. So here you can, so here you see the normal view and then the wave view. Here you see the changes waveform. So this is the different waveforms used in the... So in that perspective, the NKS can help a little bit in speeding up selecting the waveforms if you're working with the sequencer and do in the first oscillator some wave sequencing. So that's the pages. So here you can scroll down. So the other ones, the sequence pages, only if you use oscillator 1 and then in the sequencer active. And you see here the little dot appearing means that the sequencer is active, of course. Okay, we're going back. So so here on the left side, then you select the presets. So if I go down here, and yeah, the advantage is you don't have to load the presets. So if I go here to clusters bank, I simply click on this here and I hear this little audition. And this little audio sample plate makes that the installer is so big. So I think Blue 3, the NKS installer is 1.3 gigabyte. That's mainly because of the small audio examples. Because yeah, Blue 3 has many presets, over 4,000, and then you get a lot of audio. And when I double click, then it opens. This one uses Chord mode. If I go here to the main screen, I can go to Chord. Okay, so so that's available now. Somebody says, is there a list of what controls of each app is mapped to the NKS controls? Well, there's not only 8 controls, there are multiple pages. So there are many. So the first one has then the same, because you mentioned also Blade 2, which I can load also, because here I can go to Blade 2, and in Blade 2, we have another range. So the size is a little bit too big. And here you see also we have the amp section. And then the second page here, so it's a little bit different. You have the XY. XY speed. The third page is about the FX control, so you can go mixing, dry, oh, it's also controlled. Yeah, the harmonizer, additive, oscillator 1, oscillator 2, the noise. So also here a lot of editing if you like to do some preset design. Oops. Wobbles. That's an ugly one. Speed. So I would go to the second page. You can do the speed. sync. It's a very thin sound. Go to another one, synth bank. But yeah, here you see also, for instance, if I go to the ARP bank, here's the ARP bank, you see that we also have there. So let me load it. So let me go. Oh no, I need to double click to load it, of course. And I need to go down here to the ARP, and it's a little bit too big. It's in the middle, you see. But then if I go down, you can see if I go to the pages, there is also an ARP page. So ARP page 1, it's making steps on off. You can make step 7 go on. Then you got page, so this is ARP A. And there should also be tie note, slide you can control, and the tune. So now change the tuning. So yeah, it depends on the plugin. So we have mostly, so you see here, many ARP pages inside Blade 2. It has then more pages because Blade 2 only has an ARP. It doesn't have like Blade 2 a sequencer and an arpeggiator. So here we could take some more pages, but you see you can do a lot. You have ARP A and even ARP B you can control. But this is advanced use. And once you have, of course, changed your preset, don't forget to save it. You can save it in the NKS format. If you change it in the NKS format, you do it essentially here. Let me see, here it should be save. Then you save it here, and then it gets into its folder from Native Instruments. Of course, you also could save it in here, and then have it in your Blade 2 banks. So we also, so the Blade 2 is a good example. So back to, oh yeah. So you can have even, so here I can go back to Blue 2. So I picked a little bit smaller size of Blue 2. This one is the 125% size of Blue 3. Sorry, I said Blue 2, but it's Blue 3. So this one, so if you own the Explorer bundle, you can go to the download page of Explorer 8, scroll down, and download the Blue 3 NKS installer and run it. So there's, you could download, of course, also the full Explorer bundle and the NKS installer, but that's not always necessary. So you also could download the Blue 3 installer, the NKS installer, if you scroll down in the download page of Explorer 8, and also then download the BIT-2, because BIT-2 we also updated. BIT-2 has now, okay, that's something else. Now let me open BIT-2. Add instrument, then I pick here BIT-2. Oh, these are the VST2. The VST3 are in the synth part. Now BIT-2, we had last week, we had the additional presets by Klangwelt, by Gerard Arendt, and they are now in the new version of BIT-2. So if you go to the bank manager, you have Klangwelt, and here you have all the new, I think 43 new ones. Very nice new presets are added, and I played already some of them, I think. Yeah, and currently I'm creating some audio demos, which I also need to do next week for Blue 3, and later on also for Predator 3, because we have the introduction videos, but essentially we forgot to create the small examples in which plays a few of the sounds which you can expect then in the synthesizer. So the bit version is 0A, 100A. That's the new BIT-2 version. With the new presets. And we also had some smaller minor bugs which we fixed inside of it. So that's also new. And also, if you then have Explorer 8 and already installed BIT-2, so if you don't have BIT-2 yet in your Explorer 8, it's best to download the full installer of Explorer 8 to install BIT-2, and then you also will have the Blue 3 update, which also has some things, because it's not only the NKS, but we also did some other stuff in the recent Blue 2, like the here you see the orange thing, which is the animation of the envelope, that it shows which stage you are. Decay, and then it goes to sustain. If I have a slow attack, you see this orange? So it was the attack, it's so fast, of course, but I opened it now, you see? Orange, decay stage, orange, and then sustain stage. So it does show. And with the envelope reverse, because if you go to the filter envelope here, you see the filter envelope. If you double click, you have a neutral, so no filter envelope. But if you go to the left, you see it flips over. That's a negative amount. And then you see it also here displayed in a negative way. So then it also explains how this inverted envelope, how it works. So and then it jumps again to normal one. So it shows inverted also here, but also here inverted one. Of course, it can be the case that you use one of the other envelopes and do this invert as modulation source. So if you have here then, for instance, the filter envelope or any other envelope, and do then reversed amount, then you don't see it in the envelope, because the envelope can be set to so many different parts. So I just picked something. So the multi-envelope, which is here, here you can then pick, for instance, all kind of presets or 4 sections. So this is a free envelope. Well, here you can do all kind of cool things. Make a different curve. So this is a free envelope. But if the amount is then negative, this one will not flip, because the multi-one envelope can be addressed to multiple parts. So so that could be negative on this one, and the multi-envelope could be positive on another one. So that's why it doesn't flip in the other ones. But which are hardware connected, so like the filter envelope, which is hardwired to the filter, if you flip it there to negative amount, it flips also the envelope. Yeah, there is now also lock mode. This is handy for if you use the, which came over also, which is in BIT-2 as well, is the lock mode. If you, for instance, have a Rolly keyboard or this other multi-polyphonic expression keyboard, then you can say here poly MPE mode, and then you do lock. And then it locks also the pitch bend. And if you go to a next preset, it stays on this poly MPE mode. Or another option would be, of course, if you go to the ARP bank. Let me see how that works. Oh, that's, I think, not a good example. Yeah, I could do that. So let's see. ARP, I do lock. And then I go to another preset. But then not an ARP preset, but digital basis. Okay. And it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Should also lock, but maybe that's because of the ARP. That well could be. So the lock is a new feature. The indication, there was even more, and we put that in the say that in the info section we put in a little information about what is new inside the plugin. So and now I only know a few things from my head, but all the little things are in the info section. So if you would go to the Blue 3 download page, then you could read it. Or if you have the Explorer 8, we have a PDF. And then the PDF shows it. So let me show you the PDF. Let me see. I need to go on my computer. And then, so, Explorer 8. So then it opens this PDF, which you can see here. Okay. And then you can see what is new in the Explorer 8. You see BIT-2 version 001A, improved ARP key entry. Sustain latch, okay, that's an important one, which we also need to fix in Blue and all other products with if you use a sustain pedal. So an indicator when lock is on. So all these things, and you see Blue 3 release version 101, NKS support, but also other things. Fixing presets which had a volume issue, all kind of things. This is something which is in the info section of the Explorer 8 download. You can click on this and then it opens the PDF to show what is different in the Explorer 8. So let's check the chat room. Because yes, indeed, MPE log for your Osmose, yeah. Then Johan Bertner is asking VST2 sound peaks by switching between presets. VST3 works fine. Well, we added something which makes it faster to load presets. I'm not sure what is causing that. By the way, the outer frame problem which we have with VST3 is fixed inside Blue 3 already. Of course, also in BIT-2, and we are updating all our plugins currently. Okay, so checking here, and what is new in BIT-2 is also that there is an indicator. So if you have here the lock on, it bleeps here, so that you will be think, oh, hey, yes. You go to the next preset and think, why does the preset doesn't sound well? Then you see you have the lock on, so that's also new. Can a delay be added to the LFOs GP8 style? To which product waveform? BIT-2? Oh, this one, bit. Well, essentially, it's not inside of it. It's a good point, but you still can do it yourself by using, for instance, let me give you an example, because most likely I used it already myself in one of these synth leads. Not in this one. So if you want to have a delay here on the pitch LFO, you could do, because yeah, we have the envelopes here, but they are not always used. So what you could do is use here an envelope, and you pick a certain setting. I would set the sustain to 100% and also decay fully open. The attack is then the attack time, and then you would use the oscillator 2 envelope. Here it is, oscillator 2 envelope as source to control the pitch LFO. Where is this baby? I think it's in the global. Why I don't see this one? This is global. Oh, here it is. Pitch LFO amount. Here it is. And then you open this one. And you see here also this little outer ring, you see changes. Now you see it goes open. So that's the way where you can do it. So the envelope inside the oscillator 2 is the source, because the envelope is not used in the oscillator 2, but you still can use it for other stuff. I open the sustain fully. That's important that you open the sustain fully, and then give it a slow attack, and you connect that one to the pitch LFO amount. So it can be done, but would be indeed maybe a handy feature to have it also inside the pitch LFO. Good point. Maybe we can have a an update and adding maybe here an additional dial for delay in the future. That will be maybe an interesting idea. Okay, I see some other questions pop up. Would it be possible in BIT to limit the polyphonic to have the note stealing effect? Oh, that's a new one for me. Yeah, like a Uno 6 with only 6 voices. No, we don't have this feature. No. Yeah, there's audio unit is okay. VST3, yeah, it's a lot of hype about VST3. It keeps us busy, definitely. With VST3, it's mainly a Cubase thing, and of course everybody jumps on that now. And the VST3 you need, for instance, in Cubase, otherwise you cannot do sidechain. So if, they blocked a sidechain from VST2. So that's one of the biggest things. It has some other small benefits, but I don't see them that much as everybody talks about it. In terms of CPU, I cannot see any difference with all plugins. And VST3 was presented in 2007. And it did not take off because it was a totally different way of programming. And we use a wrapper to create this VST3, and then and that works nice. But it's I find it personally overrated compared to VST 2.4, which is already perfect in my opinion. But if you want to use sidechain in Cubase, you need VST3. And so VST, and there's also AAX, which is from Pro Tools, and everything does the same. That's the frustrating thing. What I would say, why not everybody would have been sticking to VST? Because essentially, if you open BIT-2 in Logic as an audio unit, it looks the same. If you use it in Pro Tools, it looks the same. Would have been handy if they would keep that as being the same as MIDI, as a standard. But that's too late for us, too late in general. So we, as developer, have a lot of work in creating all these different platforms. So that's it. Okay. Note stealing. Yeah, well, what we have here in BIT-2 is, of course, the mono high and low, or mono mode and legato. So that's also which can be different on the, for instance, the MS-20 has a different mono mode than a mini Moog. So here, if you have a, so this is legato, but you also could do, it makes no difference if I play. That's polyphonic, so if I pick legato, on a mini Moog you only can do it with the lower note, or otherwise with the higher note. One of them. But here the legato you can do it with both. You can, and then we have the mono. And mono, it re-triggers the envelopes. So with some sounds, so this is mono. And then this mono makes no difference if I go mono below it or mono above. It re-triggers. But then you have mono low. And if I play then high, it doesn't re-trigger. So you need to hit a lower note from the original note to have then the re-triggering, or mono high. If I play down, it doesn't do, but if I play higher. So these are the different mono modes. And the same for legato, essentially. And this is, of course, the cool thing about digital. You can do all kind of things. But mono polyphonic stealing, yeah, that's an interesting one. You need to play polyphonic 16 notes. Well, I only have 10 fingers, so that's a problem. Or very long release, then you might have a... I have portamento. I need to shut that one down. Make it even longer and see if it steals. Hard to hear. Okay, and I hit a wrong note. And you see, I pulled down the portamento and then it did a drag and drop here. So that's also, LFO can be drag and drop here. This one can be drag and drop. But only if you hear up here the pitch LFO. You see, that doesn't work, drag and drop. Also, the amount doesn't work. Because if you're very high and you go down with the mouse, you would do per accident a drag and drop. So that's why we remove the pitch LFO from being drag and drop. But even with the portamento, I succeeded in getting it drag and drop. Here you go, yeah. Let me see, other things. Maybe here in this one. Yeah, that's also something which we did. Now in the new version, if you go download latest, if I click it now, it does say you have the latest version of BIT, okay. But if we would have in the future an update and you click here, then it would instantly, you could download then the latest installer. So you don't have to log in, you directly could install it. So let me check the chat room. Yeah, we Taxonic does mention something. Yeah, we use the wrapper because if we would program all our VST 2.4 plugins into VST3, that would take years. So we use a Juice, which is a kind of shell platform. Many use Juice to convert the or VST 2.4 plugins into VST3. And what we do is copy down the VST3 or the DLL in the VST3 folder, but also in the original 2.4 folder, because some people delete the 2.4 and then it would not work. So what we did now is having the VST 2.4 inside the VST3 folder, and the wrapper grabs that and converts that on the fly, as they call it, a wrapper. They report creates the VST3. It's a lot of hype on the VST3. I think they should have done it differently. VST 2.4 was good enough. They unnecessarily create a lot of work for us programmers. And there's a good site about this whole story about VST3, which I linked on Facebook. If you want to have more information of why it took so long that VST3 pushed forward, you can read it on this site, and then you will understand why it took so long that it took off or did not take off, because we talk about 15 years ago that it was presented. And still, for all the people who think I must have VST3, well, VST 2.4 is very good. In terms of CPU, you will not notice any difference with our plugins. They are, I think, anyhow already very CPU optimized and okay. So you will not have any difference. Okay, so all these little things. Yeah, we heard about clap, but we have so much on our mind with our current versions. So I can give you the link in the description. So I don't think I can share it in the chat room. I will drop it in the info section after the live stream, and there you can read the whole story about VST3 and what happened with this whole thing. And they push it hard from Steinberg, and I think one of the worst things they can do is that they drop it fully from their Steinberg. Then people really would have problems, because not all plugins are VST3, and then producers cannot load their old songs. I think that will be a very bad thing. But that's my opinion. So hopefully they don't do and drop it, because I'm using now a Cubase 12 and it loads perfectly the VST 2.4. And if they would drop it, I have to go back to Cubase 11 for loading all the songs, which would be ridiculous in my opinion. Okay, so we have BIT-2, an update with some cool new features with the new presets from which were on the early bird presets bank, which I should then remove, of course. If you go to the bank manager here in Klangwelt, you can discover them. If you click on Klangwelt and you go order by date, then you have all the latest new presets are popping up as first one. Some very cool sounds. Okay. Yeah, another question popping up, I see. Well, the presets, VST3 presets at some points. Well, NKS has its own format. So that's, apart from that, NKS always has its own format. And I know that VST3 has also a preset format which is own tagging. So and the case is that if you have the NKS system, okay, let me see if I can show you. You go to BIT-2. This is the folder of BIT-2 on the computer. You have the bank folder. This is all the presets, you know, which will pop up. They are single files. So you see all the presets, and then there is new. If we would have then NKS, let's go back to bit 1 or blue 3, you would have then here the NKS presets. So they are essentially a copy of the original presets with their NKS tagging added to it. So, and you see there are a lot of files, 4,600 presets. And if there would be then a third format, that will be then the VST3, then we would convert, I think, the bank again to the NKS, to the VST3 format. And then we would use our own tagging to add the VST3 tagging, because we have our own tagging, which is here, you know. Search category, I can say I want to hear synth sound. Or you say sequence sound. So that's search category. You can do this here. So each has its own tagging. So if I create a new preset and I save it, and then I go to let's say if we have a here to the preset manager, you have a preset. I go to the manager, and then I said, okay, this is a synth sound. It has pretty much reverb or delay on it. It has a bright character. It's a little bit spacey, and it's of course polyphonic. But this is in the category synth sound. So if we would convert this one, we should then convert the tagging which we use here to the VST3 format. So essentially, VST3, if I'm not wrong, is very similar what NKS is doing. So and NKS, okay, means that I think that's probably then the same with VST3. If all brands would have then VST3 presets, you could scroll through all the plugins you have installed which have VST3 and VST3 presets. So it's the same essentially with what Complete Control Native Instrument does with the NKS format. And of course, as mentioned, you see another platform, another system. So, so I'm not sure if that's going to take off. Yeah, the dynamic resizable plugins is only if you have fully graphic dials. So here, for instance, the dials are images. So they are not. So if you have the Roly keyboard, you have this Roly synthesizer. I'm not sure how its name again. Everything is graphic, so it looks like a bit like Ableton, the dials. So it's not a 3D stuff. Then the silent stuff, yeah, they could have done that also to VST 2.4. So it's essentially I'm totally and that's the reason why it did not take off, because they. Yeah, you really should read that article. It's stunning. What sometimes you think, why, you know, why do things making it so complicated? Because yeah, also to 2.4 they could added this this process, automatic stopping process, no point of having that, or the resizable Jew. They easily could added it, but okay, that's me. It's but it takes a lot of time from us. Instead of making new products, we are hours busy with doing all kind of problem solving. Yeah, I don't think you can see any difference in CPU. I don't see any difference in CPU with our plugins. Definitely not. But okay, it's the hype, and as mentioned, if you like to use sidechain or in Cubase, you need VST3. Otherwise, you cannot have it. And I think it's different in other plugins, because then other music hosts do this again in a different way. So well, could be that in Ableton you can have sidechain without no problem with 2.4, or in Logic it's again another problem, or system, because it's audio unit, and then you got AAX. There you can also do sidechain. 60 frames per second. Yeah, then I think it's gonna be very. I think you think about the graphics here. These things. Well, sometimes the graphics take more CPU than the whole sound generation, so we are very, very careful with that. Yeah, take also in account that if you have a bit recent computer, it's totally ridiculous what you can do with it. I mean, I use for this small demo I created for the BIT-2 introduction video, it was about 13 instances of BIT-2, and it hardly used any CPU. Yeah, it's the photo BR. Yes, if you have complete control in native mode, then it will not load the older VST plugins we have. We are updating them. That was a problem with the ID. We have a different ID with VST2 and VST3. And so we had to find a solution for it. That took weeks to solve. We solved that now with Blue 3, so therefore Blue 3 is now VST3. We solved that with the original BIT. So if you would have the Mac, you can download again the BIT NKS installer to fix that. And we are currently fixing all of the instruments, but that takes time. So that was something that popped up also, which is a very common thing with Mac. If there is something changes, it's always the Mac that causes the issues for us as developer in getting everything up to date. So that's a thing in progress. So in native M1 mode and complete control, it will only load Blue 3 and BIT currently. The rest we need to update. The knobs, updating the. I'm not sure, Thomas, what you mean, because I don't see anything weird with the dials. I'm not sure what you mean by this graphic. So if I turn here the dials, it's all fine. We had some issues on PC, people who used the PC and used the built-in graphic card. Then we had a little bit of sloppy graphics, and then we said to people, shut down which you can shut down the graphics here, the animated dials and the animated 3D animation. But that was only on a PC if they had a built-in on their main board a graphic card. That was too much strain on this graphic card. So I'm not sure what you mean by the knobs. Maybe the animation, but if I turn the dial here, it's all fine here. At least on my systems, we don't have any complaints about it. The only one we had was with people with a PC and if they use the internal graphic card. Yeah, most producers pick a better graphic card because then you have also better performance for with your music host. Because yeah, the computer screen on that you want to have, of course, being fast. Okay. So what we're currently doing is updating a lot of plugins. So on the Mac, we have to solve this M1 issue, which is in complete control, or Machine 2. If you run the native, we updated the original bit already. Blue 3 is, of course, then already okay, but then the rest also will follow. And so that's work in progress. Okay, I just found one issue. Well, there always will be issues, but what? Tell us, Thomas, what's the issue? I see that in the chat room. And yeah. So I'm waiting on his answer. In the meantime, yeah, so Blue 3, that's NKS now. And because you have these 6 oscillators, you can do, let's go to the digital bank. Where is the digital basis? Because that's most of the, and then you can go to the oscillator page. Let me see, 4, 5, and 6 are used, and go to oscillator 4. Change the, then I can change the envelope. So if I go here to the envelope, you see oscillator 4, the envelope. Or the semitone of oscillator. So that's cool. Now you an oscillator 5 is used. So if you're love to do some FM editing, you can have then for the 6 oscillators all the envelopes. You see up here, you have all the envelopes available. So doing some cool FM stuff, where modulating oscillators are modulating the other oscillators. Okay, let me see. Yeah, this mouse scrolling, that's a typical thing, because now here, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It depends also very much on the host. So now I'm using in complete control and my mouse doesn't do anything. If I go now to bit 2, let's see what happens with bit 2. No, there's a VST3. I think that one doesn't do the mouse. In the manager, I also don't have mouse control. So let's see what happens with VST2. So these are little things, and sometimes it depends on the music host, because, for instance, in Ableton, it seems to also be a little bit different. So let me see if I take bit 2 as VST2. This, okay. Now it works. But then in the manager, it doesn't work. Scroll the bank, it doesn't work. Yeah, but this is another one, of course. This is if you have more than 128 presets. So the introduction bank has 160 presets. 250 is or 254 is the max. But here the arrow appears then. But you see here also, yeah, for some reason the mouse wheel, no. But the mouse wheel works with VST2. Maybe some other people, you see LFO mount, yeah, works. I don't get it working in Cubase with VST3. Could be our mistake. Well, it could be, but so I write it down. But it well could be that in your system, for instance, if you would Ableton, that it works. Okay. So less music, lots of questions, and that's therefore we have a live stream, which is good. Okay, so I'm looking in the chat room because we're already 1 hour in a live stream. Any news on the Blue 3 play mode chord feature? News about that one? Any news on the chord feature? Well, that one is already inside of it. Well, which is here. The chord mode, if you put it on, it opens the screen and there you can have the chord. So I'm not sure what you mean. Or maybe you mean the lock mode, which is inside of it. So the chord preset, for instance, you will find if you go to the bank. So let's do it in the NKS cluster bank, where we have some. So, and 4 notes, you see, and here is the tuning. So the root key, that's of course the note you hit. The second is I7, 10, and 15. And then, of course, the new features is that you can have also a panning. Gold panning. Different velocities you can set. Strumming. Tempo sync. So they're all kind of... So here you can see 3 notes, but if I put it off, you have a normal sound. And then with chord, you do a little bit different things. It's... Of course, you need to keep in mind, once I hit a note, essentially I hit 3 notes, because then the chord plays for you the note. But you can make some very nice textures. Two notes, this one, so there's not very much of an accord. So you see all kind of and using with the XY. You see here, essentially it's only 3 notes. You can make it more, 4. Yeah, that's the only thing you need to keep in mind with this chord mode. You see 4 notes, is that once I hit 1 note, it plays 4 for you. So you run much faster out of notes. Then the question, the 9th page was planned with additional features like in Predator 3. Yeah, that was it. That was the, here it is a plan for Blue 3, which is the special page. Let me open Predator 3. Here we have the special page where you can intelligent preset variation and preset morphing. So you can create a preset based on 2 other presets. So you have one preset and another preset, and you morph between them, you play and you listen, and suddenly you might have a very good preset and then you save it. So you can mix 2 presets together into one preset. It's of course a not a dynamic thing. It's more like, hey, let's mix two presets and see what happens. And the intelligent preset variation generator is essentially that you change a certain range of parameters, which we pick, and then it changes in a way that you also can make some variations. So that's the special page, which is also planned for a Blue 3. It's planned, but not yet. Okay, guys, it's getting late for me. I'm getting a little bit tired. Long day again today. So thanks for watching. A lot of information, and that's cool. Next week, Thursday, there will be no live stream because I have I'm not in the studio then, but so we catch up in 2 weeks. But I will post that, of course, also in the community tab inside the YouTube a page. So I also will add this story about VST3 inside the info section after the live stream. And thank you for watching. Enjoy creating music and see you in 2 weeks, guys. Bye bye.